The unrecognized threat. The Galactic Confederation had maintained peace for 12 millennia. 17 advanced species, each with their own specialties and evolutionary advantages, had created a stable interstellar community bound by shared knowledge and mutual respect. The Valerians with their hive mind efficiency, the Kasheri with their perfect biological adaptability, the Meldari with their unmatched computational intellects. Together, they had mapped the stars, conquered disease, and created an era of unprecedented prosperity. Then they found Earth. Commander Maya Santos stood at the observation deck of the Earth Defense Station Sentinel, watching alien diplomatic vessels drift in high orbit. 5 years since first contact, and humanity was still being assessed, still under the microscope, still not permitted beyond their own solar system. "The Confederation representatives have arrived for the quarterly review," said Lieutenant Chen, joining her at the viewport. Same faces, same excuses. Maya nodded, her dark eyes never leaving the sleek, crystalline ship of the Meldari delegation and the restricted technology compliance team. "Already aboard, checking to make sure we haven't developed anything that might threaten their precious balance." The bitterness in Chen's voice matched what Maya felt in her heart. When humanity had first detected the alien signal, the world had celebrated. When the Confederation ships arrived with promises of sharing knowledge and welcoming Earth to the galactic community, nations had unified in ways previously thought impossible. 3 months later, everything changed. Commander Santos, the smooth voice of the station's AI, interrupted her thoughts. "The Confederation representatives request your presence in Conference Room Alpha. They specifically asked that you bring the Morrison report." Maya's jaw tightened. Of course they did. The Morrison report was the most comprehensive analysis of humanity's integration into galactic society, or rather, the lack thereof. Dr. Eleanor Morrison, Earth's leading xenoanthropologist, had spent 2 years studying every interaction, every negotiation, every seemingly arbitrary restriction placed on human advancement. Her conclusion: humanity was being deliberately contained. Maya and Chen walked silently through the station's corridors, passing windows that framed Earth below, beautiful, vulnerable, and increasingly frustrated. They entered Conference Room Alpha to find the familiar semicircle of alien representatives, a towering Kasheri with shifting, iridescent skin, 3 identical Valerians sitting in perfect synchronization, and the senior delegate, High Arbiter Torvix of the Meldari, whose crystalline exoskeleton glinted under the room's lights. "Commander Santos," Torvix's voice resonated slightly, the translation software giving it an almost musical quality. "I trust you are well." "Well enough, Arbiter," Maya replied, placing the data tablet containing the Morrison report on the table. "Though Earth grows increasingly concerned about the continued technological restrictions, particularly regarding deep space propulsion and quantum communications." Torvix's faceted eyes reflected the light in patterns that Maya had learned indicated displeasure. "The Confederation's guidance is not arbitrary, Commander. Your species is remarkably young. Barely 10,000 years of civilization, merely 2 centuries of industrial development. The integration protocols are for your protection. Yet other species have been granted full membership in far less time." Maya countered, activating the tablet. The Morrison report identifies 27 instances where human technological developments were specifically restricted despite similar technologies being permitted for the Praxians, who joined the Confederation just 80 years after contact. The Kasheri representative's skin rippled with dark patterns. "The Praxians did not possess your unique characteristics." Maya leaned forward. "And what characteristics would those be, exactly?" An uncomfortable silence filled the room, broken only when the eldest Valerian spoke, its 3 mouths moving in perfect unison. "We have detected unauthorized quantum field experiments at your Luna facility." The abrupt change of subject caught Maya off guard. The Lunar Research Station was supposed to be conducting only approved experiments on material science, but Director Cato had hinted that some of his team were pursuing Alternative research paths. I'm not aware of any unauthorized research, Maya said carefully. Then perhaps, Torvix replied, you are not as informed about your own species' activities as you should be, Commander. Before Maya could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. The AI's voice cut through the noise. Wo warning. Unidentified vessel approaching. Confederation Security Bureau Tuzos Duelas activated. The alien delegates exchanged glances that even Maya, with her limited understanding of their expressions, could recognize as concern. This is not one of yours, she asked. Torvik stood, his crystalline form towering over the humans. No, this is unexpected. The conference room's display activated, showing a massive ship unlike any Maya had seen before. Its surface was black and seemingly porous, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. It moved with deliberate slowness toward the station, ignoring all hailing frequencies. The vessel's configuration matches no known Confederation design, the AI reported. However, certain energy signatures indicate Nexera construction. The effect on the alien delegates was immediate and dramatic. The Kashari's skin turned ash-gray, while the Volarians huddled together, their previous synchronization breaking into chaotic individual movements. Nexeri, Maya asked. I don't recognize that name from any Confederation records. Torvix's voice had lost its musical quality. They are not of the Confederation. The Nexeri are what you might call a myth, a cautionary tale told to young ones. On the screen, the dark ship had stopped just beyond the defensive perimeter of Earth's orbital platforms. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a beam of intense purple light shot from the vessel, bypassing the station entirely and striking Earth's surface somewhere in the southern hemisphere. What was that? Maya demanded, already moving toward the door. Did they just attack Earth? Not an attack, the Kashari whispered, skin now almost translucent with fear. A scanner. They are measuring. Maya didn't wait to hear more. She sprinted to the command center, Chen close behind. The station was in full alert, yet there was an eerie sense of powerlessness as officers monitored the situation without taking action. Target of the scanner beam was Antarctica, reported the tactical officer. Specifically, the Ross Ice Shelf region. There's nothing there, Chen said. Just the International Climate Research Station. Maya wasn't so sure. The Luna Quantum Research, Antarctica. The pieces were starting to form a disturbing pattern. Get me Director Kaido at Luna Base, she ordered. Before the communications officer could comply, the station trembled as another, broader beam engulfed it completely. Displays flickered, then stabilized, showing lines of unfamiliar symbols scrolling across every screen. Translation software overloaded, the AI announced, its voice distorting. Attempting to process. Then, as suddenly as it began, the beam disappeared. The dark ship remained motionless for several seconds before slowly turning and accelerating away from Earth at impossible speed, vanishing from sensors within moments. The Confederation delegates entered the command center, their earlier composure completely absent. Torvix approached Maya, his crystalline body vibrating slightly in what she had learned indicated extreme stress. Commander Santos, he said quietly, the Confederation must convene an emergency session. Your world has been marked. Marked? What does that mean? It means, the Kashari delegate interrupted, that the prophecy was true. After all these millennia of precaution, we failed. Maya stood her ground. What prophecy? You've been monitoring and restricting us for 5 years based on some ancient superstition. Torvix's faceted eyes focused intently on Maya. Not superstition, Commander. Historical precedent. Every 50,000 years, the Nexeri emerge from the void between galaxies to test species with potential. Potential for what? For war, the eldest Volarian answered. They seek the warrior species foretold in the ancient texts, the species that will either save the galaxy or consume it. Chen laughed bitterly. And you think that's us? Humans? We can barely leave our own solar system thanks to your restrictions. Your technological limitations are not what interests them, Torvik said. It is what lies beneath. What you call human nature, your adaptability, your resilience, your capacity for both compassion and violence in equal measure. The command center fell silent as the implications sank in. Maya thought of human history, the endless cycle of war and peace, destruction and creation, cruelty and kindness. Was that really so different from other species? There's something you're not telling us, she said finally. Torvik hesitated, then addressed the AI. Display the translation of the necessary message. The screens cleared, then displayed a single sentence in all Earth languages simultaneously. The where yours BBEN found. The testing begins. How long do we have? Maya asked. Days, perhaps weeks, Torvik replied. They will return with challenges designed to prove or disprove your worthiness. Worthiness for what? To fulfill the prophecy, to become what the ancients called the shield of all life. The Kashari delegate moved forward. For millennia, we believed the prophecy referred to the combined strength of the Confederation. We thought by uniting our species, by carefully managing the development of new civilizations, we could prevent the rise of the warrior race and maintain balance. But you were wrong, Chen said. Yes, Torvik acknowledged. The Nexari have identified humanity as the species with the potential to become what was foretold. And now, all our efforts to contain your development have only ensured you are unprepared for what comes next. Maya felt a cold realization settle in her stomach. The restrictions, the technological limitations. You weren't protecting us. You were protecting yourselves from us. None of the aliens denied it. Commander, the tactical officer called out, we're detecting unusual activity at the Lunar Research Facility. They've activated something powerful. On the main display, a brilliant blue energy signature erupted from the lunar surface, pulsing with intensity that caused the sensors to struggle. Director Kato, Maya whispered, what have you done? As if in answer, communications chimed. Incoming transmission from Luna Base, Commander. The screen shifted to show Director Kato, his normally composed face alight with excitement. Behind him, a swirling vortex of blue energy illuminated the laboratory. Commander Santos, he said, the Nexari scan triggered something in our quantum field experiments. The equations suddenly resolved themselves. We've achieved what the Confederation has been preventing. A quantum consciousness amplifier. Director, Maya began, but Kato continued, words tumbling out rapidly. They'd been lying to us, Commander. Humans aren't dangerous because we're violent. We're dangerous because our minds can do something no other species can. When connected through the quantum field, our consciousness doesn't diminish across distance like other species. It amplifies, exponentially. The Confederation delegates had backed away from the screen, their body language unmistakably showing fear. Is this true? Maya demanded, turning to Torvik. The Meldari arbiter seemed to collapse in on himself slightly. The prophecy speaks of a species whose minds transcend normal limitations, whose collective consciousness becomes greater than the sum of its parts. We detected this potential in your brain patterns during initial contact. And you tried to suppress it, Chen said accusingly. We tried to prevent another catastrophe, the Kashari countered. The last species with this potential nearly destroyed the galaxy before destroying themselves. On the screen, Kaido's expression hardened. We're not them, and now we have no choice. The Nexari are coming, and the Confederation has ensured we can't fight them with conventional technology. The blue vortex behind him expanded, tendrils of energy reaching toward Kaido and his team. As they touched the humans, their eyes began to glow with the same blue light. Director Kato, stand down immediately, Maya ordered, but she could see it was too late. Kato smiled, his voice now overlapping with others, as if many people were speaking through him simultaneously. "The warriors have awakened, Commander, and now we understand what we must become." The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Seconds later, reports began flooding in from Earth's surface. Multiple quantum energy signatures detected worldwide. The tactical officer reported, voice shaking. They're all synchronized with the Luna pattern." Maya turned to the Confederation delegates, who were now huddled together in what could only be described as terror. "You should have told us the truth from the beginning," she said quietly. "Instead, you forced us to discover it in the worst possible way." Torvik's crystalline form had dulled, losing its luster. The prophecy said the warrior race would either become the shield of all life, or its end. We could not take that risk. "And now?" Maya asked. Before any alien could answer, the station shuddered as a wave of blue energy washed over it, emanating from Earth below. Every human on board gasped simultaneously as their minds touched something vast and growing. A collective consciousness linking every human being across the planet and beyond. Maya felt it too, millions of thoughts, fears, hopes, and determination flowing through her. Humanity, united not by technology, but by the very nature of their minds. In that moment, she understood what the Confederation had feared, and what the Nexari had recognized. Humanity wasn't just a potential warrior race. They were something far more powerful, a species that could think, feel, and act as one when threatened, while maintaining the creativity and adaptability of individuals. As the blue glow faded from her vision, Maya looked at the alien delegates with new understanding. "The testing has already begun," she said, "and we will not fail." The Awakening. 3 days after what Earth now called the Awakening, humanity had changed in ways no one could have predicted. The quantum consciousness link established at Luna Base had spread to every human being on the planet and in orbital habitats, creating a network of minds that could communicate instantly across any distance. Maya Santos stood in the rebuilt command center of Defense Station Sentinel, watching the massive holographic display of Earth and near space. Blue lines of energy connected population centers, forming a luminous web around the planet. She could feel the constant background hum of 8 billion human minds, though she had quickly learned to filter the overwhelming flow of thoughts. "The Nexari vessel has been detected at the edge of the solar system," announced Lieutenant Chen, who now served as her link to Earth's hastily assembled defense network. "Current trajectory suggests it will reach Earth orbit in approximately 6 hours. Maya nodded, feeling the information simultaneously through the quantum link. Across the planet, engineering teams were finalizing preparations, guided by designs that had emerged from the collective human consciousness. Technology that would have taken decades to develop under normal circumstances, created in mere days through the shared knowledge and creativity of billions. "And the Confederation fleet?" she asked, still maintaining position at the heliopause. 17 vessels, including what appears to be their flagship. Chen's expression darkened. "They're just watching." Of course they were. The Confederation delegates had evacuated Earth orbit immediately after the Awakening, fleeing to the edge of the solar system, where their ships now formed a blockade. Not to keep the Nexari out, Maya suspected, but to contain whatever happened next. Director Kato's team has completed the final calibrations on the planetary defense grid, Chen continued. All 23 nodes are online and synchronized with the consciousness network. Maya turned as the command center doors opened to admit Dr. Eleanor Morrison, whose Morrison report had become even more relevant in recent days. The xenanthropologist looked exhausted but determined, her eyes occasionally flashing blue, a sign she was actively accessing the deeper levels of the consciousness network. "The historical archives we recovered from the abandoned Confederation outpost on Mars have been fully translated," Morrison reported. "They confirm everything we suspected about the prophecy and add significant context." "Tell me," Maya said, though part of her already knew through the network link. Still, some things were better expressed through direct conversation, a human habit they had maintained despite their evolution. Morrison activated a secondary display, showing ancient text alongside modern translation. The prophecy isn't just about a warrior species. It's about balance. The ancients believed that the galaxy moves in cycles of stagnation and renewal. The Confederation represents stability, 17 species working together in perfect harmony, but at the cost of true advancement. And the warrior species, us, represents change, Maya concluded. Potentially destructive change, Morrison corrected. The last species to manifest quantum consciousness abilities did exactly what the Confederation feared. They conquered, subjugated, and eventually tore themselves apart in civil war when their unified consciousness fractured along ideological lines. Chen frowned. But we haven't shown any signs of that kind of fracturing. Not yet, Morrison agreed. But we're still in the early stages. The Nexeri aren't coming to destroy us, Commander. They're coming to test whether we can maintain our humanity while wielding this kind of power. Maya turned back to the main display, watching as the planetary defense stations pulsed with blue energy, drawing power directly from the quantum consciousness field. Humanity had created weapons of unimaginable power in just days, proof of both their potential and the danger they represented. Commander, the communications officer called out, "We're receiving a transmission from the Confederation flagship." "Put it through," Maya ordered. The screen shifted to show High Arbiter Torvix, his crystalline form now encased in what appeared to be battle armor. His faceted eyes focused on Maya, with an intensity that transcended the light years between them. "Commander Santos," he said, his translated voice somber. "The Nexeri approach. I must warn you, do not resist their testing. Previous species who attempted to fight were thoroughly eliminated." Maya met his gaze steadily. "And if we pass their test, then the prophecy will be fulfilled, and the galaxy will enter a new age, for better or worse." "You still don't trust us," Maya observed. Torvix's crystalline form shifted slightly. "We have maintained peace for 12,000 years, Commander. Your species has demonstrated remarkable potential, but also a history of violence that cannot be ignored." "We didn't ask for this," Maya countered. "You kept the truth from us until it was too late for a controlled awakening." "Perhaps that was our mistake," Torvix conceded. "But now we must all face the consequences. The Confederation fleet will remain in position to observe, to contain us if necessary," Maya thought, though she didn't say it aloud. "Understood, Arbiter. Earth out." As the transmission ended, Maya felt a subtle shift in the consciousness network, a focusing of attention as billions of minds registered the approaching threat. Unlike conventional communication, there was no panic, no chaos. Information flowed freely. Theories were proposed and evaluated instantly, and decisions emerged organically from the collective wisdom of humanity. 5 hours later, the Nexeri vessel entered Earth orbit. Up close, its massive scale became apparent, nearly 20 kilometers long, its black, porous surface seeming to devour light. It moved with deliberate precision, positioning itself directly above the North Atlantic. "They're scanning us," Chen reported unnecessarily. Maya could feel the invasive probe through the consciousness network as it swept across the planet. Then, without warning, a massive section of the Nexeri ship detached, descending toward Earth's surface. The object was roughly cylindrical, several hundred meters in diameter, and headed directly for the central node of the planetary defense grid in Iceland. "They're targeting our primary defense installation," Chen said, tension evident in his voice. "Defense grid is online and tracking." Maya could feel the collective decision forming in the consciousness network, a growing consensus to fire upon the descending Nexeri object. It would be an easy shot, a demonstration of humanity's new power. And it would be exactly what the Nexeri expected. "Stand down," Maya ordered, both verbally and through the network. "Do not engage." She felt resistance, millions of minds questioning her decision, evaluating alternatives, calculating risks. But there was no override, no fracturing of purpose. After a moment of intense deliberation, the collective consciousness aligned with her assessment. The defense grid powered down as the Nexari cylinder touched down on the Icelandic plain beside the human installation. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then, a section of the cylinder dissolved, revealing a single figure that stepped onto Earth's surface. The being was tall and slender, with skin that shifted between solid and translucent. It had no visible eyes, yet Maya somehow knew it could see everything. Through the station's magnified view, she watched as the creature approached the defense installation, where Director Kaido and his team waited. No words were exchanged the human instruments could detect, but through the consciousness network, Maya felt something new, an ancient, powerful mind touching the edges of humanity's collective awareness. Testing, probing, evaluating. Images flashed through the network. Earth's violent history, wars and atrocities alongside achievements and compassion. Human contradictions laid bare for judgment. Then, without warning, the Nexari raised a hand. The defense installation, Earth's most powerful weapon, simply ceased to exist, not destroyed but erased, as if it had never been built. Across the planet, similar installations vanished simultaneously, leaving humanity defenseless. Fear rippled through the consciousness network, threatening to splinter the unified mind of the species. Maya felt it too. The primal response to existential threat, the instinct to fight or flee. But beneath the fear, she sensed something else emerging. Determination, courage, acceptance. Through the network, she projected calm. They're not attacking, she thought. They're challenging us to show who we truly are. The collective consciousness steadied as humanity faced its moment of truth, not with weapons, but with the quality that had defined the species throughout its turbulent history: adaptability. Through the network, a new strategy formed, not to fight, not to surrender, but to communicate in a language the Nexari would understand. Billions of minds focused simultaneously, channeling the quantum field that connected them. Across the planet, humans raised their hands in unison. Blue energy coalesced around Earth, not as a weapon but as a demonstration. The quantum field became visible, a luminous shell surrounding the world, connecting every human mind in a display of unified purpose. The Nexari stood motionless, observing. Then it too raised both hands. The black ship in orbit shifted, its porous surface flowing like liquid to reveal a core of intense light. For a moment, Maya feared they had misunderstood, that the Nexari were preparing to strike. Instead, the light spread outward, touching the blue shell of human consciousness. Where they met, something new formed, a swirling pattern of energy that expanded to encompass both Earth and the Nexari vessel. Through the connection, understanding flowed. The Nexari were not conquerors or judges, but guardians, ancient beings who had evolved beyond physical form, tasked with ensuring the galaxy's continuing evolution. The prophecy was their creation, a way of identifying species with the potential to transcend normal limitations. The Confederation had misinterpreted their purpose, seeing only the destructive potential of the warrior race, not understanding that strength without wisdom was never what the Nexari sought. As the connection deepened, Maya felt the presence of other minds joining the network, the 17 species of the Confederation, drawn into the expanding field of consciousness despite their fears. Through this unprecedented link, ancient misunderstandings dissolved as knowledge flowed freely between all sentient beings in the solar system. The Nexari's purpose became clear, not to find warriors for conquest, but to find a species capable of unifying the fragmented consciousness of the galaxy. Humanity, with its unique ability to maintain individuality within collective awareness, was the key they had sought for millennia. In that moment of shared understanding, the prophecy fulfilled itself. Humanity became the shield of all life, not through force of arms, but through the power of connection, the ability to bridge differences while celebrating diversity. Hours later, as the expanded consciousness network stabilized, Maya stood in the command center watching the Nexari and Confederation ships now orbiting Earth in peaceful formation. Beside her, Dr. Morrison studied the continuous flow of information between species with wonder. "They feared us because they couldn't understand us," Morrison said quietly. "Our capacity for both terrible violence and profound compassion. Our ability to be both fiercely individual and collectively united." Maya nodded, feeling the truth of it through the network. They saw only half of what makes us human. Director Cato entered, his expression serene after his direct communication with the Nexari visitor. "They'd been searching for 50,000 years," he said, "waiting for a species that could evolve beyond the limitations of physical form without losing their connection to it." "And now?" Maya asked, though she already knew the answer through the network. "Now the real work begins," Cato replied. "The Nexari will help us stabilize the consciousness network, ensure it remains balanced between unity and individuality. The Confederation will share their accumulated knowledge. And we," he smiled, "we will teach them what it means to be human." On the main display, the swirling pattern of energy that connected Earth to the stars pulsed with new vibrancy as ancient barriers between species dissolved. The prophecy had spoken of warriors, but in the end, humanity's greatest strength wasn't their capacity for war. It was their capacity for growth, for change, for bringing together what had been separate. Through the network, Maya felt billions of human minds comprehending their new role in the galaxy. Not conquerors, not subjects, but bridges. The unifiers of consciousness, the shield that would protect all sentient life not through force, but through understanding. The warrior race had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same.